Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we received the new 1.5.8 beta and the 1.5.7 moved to live. This patch is about 2.3 gigabytes and it does have some good changes and new additions. So I'm going to link the beta patch down below like always, and like always have a script. Everything I say, all links that are stated, they're all going to be down below for you guys to check out after the video, during the video, whatever you want to do. So in this video, I'm going to go over all the important changes. The minor changes and fixes will be on the screen as the video goes on, and you can pause the video to see those, or you can follow the link in the description for more information on the official patch notes. And also I'm going to have a Google Docs link to my patch notes that has kind of the important changes on it. Alrighty, so let's get right into the changes. We're going to do single player, multiplayer, and then both. So first, single player. First, like always, we have the single player crash fixes. They're on the screen right now if you wish to check them out. There's a bunch of them, but every single patch we do get them, and I do appreciate them. They do help with performance and just overall, you know, crash fixes are bad, so it's good to see them gone. Second, we have performance upgrades, which include improved loading times for campaign map. Great. Optimized memory allocations to reduce FPS drops and various other memory leaks. Very good. Always love when they work on either, you know, save files, FPS drop, or memory leaks. Always good for the game. Next we have is 9 Battanian helmets have been added, and now armors no longer have origin adjectives added to their names like southern or northern. This has pretty much changed the names of about 80% of the armors. Therefore, I'm just going to scroll through the helmets just to show you guys on screen, because a lot of them were changed and there are a ton, and these Battanian helmets are in between these somewhere, but it's kind of hard to tell with the name changes and also the additions of the helmets. Next we have is body armor weights have been recalibrated according to armor types and armor values. Pretty much, you know, if it kind of looks like a heavier armor, it's going to weigh a little bit more now. I don't know the exact implications of that. Obviously, you run a little bit slower, but it's not really defined as of this point, but those have been recalibrated. Next, we have is 3 new cheering animation variations were added. So now there will be different cheering animations that I guess will be played by different troops, and also they will depend on the result of the battle. I'm guessing if it's a clean victory, maybe like one where you lost a lot of troops, or a very close one, you're going to have different cheers. Good to see. It makes sense. Not everybody has to yell the same thing, so good change. Next we have is campaign map mouse right click and middle click behavior has been changed to hide the cursor and keep it at the same location. Next we have is added a new casualty report option for non-hero troops kills/deaths. So the option will look a little bit different. The screen will look a little bit different. Very good to see. Then we have added a new option, tracked attacked settlements, that automatically tracks settlements in the player's faction that are under attack. The only leader option only tracks these settlements if the player is the leader of the faction. So now you'll be able to see a lot more of what's going on. You will be able to see exactly what the settlements are being attacked. And I think this is a very good option. It gives you more information, and we need a lot more of these to come. Next we have is added a lock item button to smelting items in the smithy, along with a warning if the player tries to smelt a locked weapon. I like this, and like I said before, we need this for a lot more things. We need to have a lot more warning screens when we decide to do certain options, whether it's to vote for something, to, you know, get rid of something, to have peace, have war. We need a lot more warning screens just so we don't misclick, but very good to see. And also, we need one for the whenever you get into a fight, you have the option to surrender, which pretty much gives everything up, or to attack. And a couple times I have pressed that surrender button by accident, so hopefully we can get a lot more of these screens up and running. Next we have is inventory items of the same type are now arranged by their values when sorted by type. Same value items are sorted alphabetically. Very good. I'm pretty sure a couple patches before this is how it used to be, but then this was changed recently and they were just all out of order. Then they kind of changed it to 1.5.7, and now it looks in 1.5.8. They want to change it back, and I guess kind of improve it a little bit more where the same value items are sorted alphabetically as well. Good to see. Next we have is added a continue campaign button on the main menu. So the main menu on the left side, you have all the options. You have, you know, your saved games, new campaign, you have custom battles and the options, and just to quit. Right now you're gonna have a continue campaign button on that main menu as well, which is cool. I don't personally use it, but I guess if you only have one campaign saved, then you're probably going to use that button, right? But if you have multiple ones, you're probably going to go into your save file. But still, good addition. Next, we have the player party now shows at the top of the scoreboard in battles. So if there's a battle and there's a lot of parties involved on both sides, you don't have to scroll down to see how your party did. Yours is going to be automatically at the top, which makes sense. Good quality of life. Next, we have is remove the enable map notifications option since some notifications aren't dismissible and are required for progression. I agree with this change. I didn't really understand the whole point of not enabling your map notifications. I guess for like a hardcore playthrough or something like that, or realistic playthrough, but I think it shouldn't have been an option at all. I think this is the right call. I think we should just, have the map notifications how it is. You can get rid of them, so you can dismiss them, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Next, we have a lot of minor UI improvements from removing some text from certain screens or reorganizing some features. They're all on the screen right now if you wish to pause. Next, we have is kind of a new feature. So we have pillaging. So players and AI can now choose to devastate, pillage, or show mercy to settlements that have been successfully sieged. So first, devastate and pillage. They can damage prosperity and projects of a settlement. So obviously pillage is going to do a little bit less damage than devastate, just by the names, right? And as well, this will diminish the power of notables in town. Naturally, the previous settlement owner won't be too happy about the destruction of their former home. However, the participants of the siege will see their party morale rise and obviously their army morale in general. Still, lords and ladies may or may not approve of the action depending on their traits. So this is kind of the same thing of when you execute somebody, obviously people aren't going to be happy. Same way with this. People are not going to be happy with this because it's kind of like the, what you would call it. This is it's very aggressive, right? And then you have the show mercy, which allows the winners to take over the settlement without causing too much harm to it and its inhabitants, which is what we do right now, pretty much. It's you taking over the settlement. While this is expected for settlements of one own faction's culture, showing mercy to foreign settlements will cause unrest among the troops. Just as with the other choices, some notables will approve or disapprove of the action. Very nice. So therefore now you have an option. So if you are the same culture, it makes sense to obviously show them mercy because obviously, you're kind of, you're similar people. You have similar values and all that. So it makes sense. But it's a foreign settlement. It's going to cause unrest. And I'm guessing this is going to increase your chance of a rebellion. So therefore, I see this as a snowballing fix where if you want to take over more land that's not your culture, that's foreign land, you're going to have bigger problems trying to stabilize it and actually make it your own. And people are going to disapprove of it if it's not the same culture, which I like. I like that culture's playing a little bit more of a role. And, you're going to have to make a little bit more decisions now. It's not just, you do this, you take over, boom, 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 boom. You got to make some more choices now. So good on that. Next we have is improve the battle formation spawn system. So formations will now spawn within one of the 4 flanks during open battle fields from pretty much from front to back order. And so here's how it's going to look now. The center flank will be skirmishers, heavy infantry, and infantry. The rear flank will be ranged units / civilian units, kind of, the more squishy units. And then from the left flank will be horse cavalry and cavalry. And then the right flank, horse archers and light cavalry. What this means is now when you go into a battle, like the battle simulator games, there's a couple out there, right? Depending on what you want to play. There's the popular ones. We got like the Warhammer ones and, like the ultra realistic battle formation. You know those games, right? So pretty much now when you spawn, they'll be more spread out and kind of, in specific locations to kind of give you a good start to your formation, right? Which I agree. I think this is great. And obviously people who love formations and like to play around with the formations, very good, on their part. Next we have also another formation thing is players can now assign different troop stacks to different formations to change flanks and deployment order. So I'm guessing you can change how these formations spawn at the beginning. If you want to put the archers actually in front, instead of, if you want to put them on the center flank where the infantry will go instead of the rear flank where the ranged units will go, you can do that. So again, very good for people who like to play with formations and good to see. Next we have is fix the siege issue that caused attacking troops to run into the walls until they're routed after primary siege engines, towers, or rams were destroyed on all lanes. This happened a lot, and I'm glad this is fixed. I know people are going to be complaining that ladders are still not fixed. I'm starting to a little bit complain about it too. I think we really need to fix those ladders. I think we really need to fix those siege towers. If the current siege towers do not work, I've stated this before, please let us use the running siege, let us use the smaller siege towers. Just pretty much, make them a little bit taller. And what I mean by the running ones is the one where there's no ladders involved on the tower. It's just like a ramp up. I think if the current siege towers with the ladders don't work, just remove them. I think the best case scenario right now is just remove them. Give us the one with the ramp for all our siege tower needs. Make them taller, if the wall is taller, and just go from there. I think that's the best thing you can do. But I do like this change of attacking troops not running into walls, because this is a really big problem for some sieges. Next we have is perks. So all remaining 10 engineering perks were added. Good to see. We got a huge influx of engineering perks, I think in 1.5.7, and now the remaining engineering perks are there. And also we have fixed various perk problems with athletics, riding, throwing, polearm, and one-handed skill trees, and a lot of minor fixes that can be seen on the screen right now. What's it called? I'm probably gonna make another video after this to kind of update you guys on how the perks are working and stuff like that. So I know the guy who owns Bannerlordperks.com. That's a nice website you guys can check out. It's exactly how it's spelled, but he does a very good job of testing all the perks, seeing how the code is, and going from there. But we're going to see how much was fixed with this and how close we are to getting pretty much 100% working on everything. We're super close. We're in the high 90s for most of them, and I think engineering was the only one lacking with like 80%, but these should change that, and it's very good to see perks are pretty much there. Next we have is when a settlement's diplomatic state is changed because of a change of owner or a new war or peace declaration, all hostile parties that are inside will now leave the settlements. All hostile heroes without parties will be taken prisoner, and all non-hostile heroes will be released. So if you take over a new town, let's say there's some enemies that have parties of a couple troops or a lot of troops, they will be let go. Then you have enemy heroes that have no party at all, it's just them, they will be prisoners, and all other parties that are neutral or they will be just released because you don't have any beef with them. Next we have is mercenaries will now leave a kingdom if they do not get paid for several days because the kingdom is bankrupt, and now kingdoms experiencing financial difficulties will now recruit minor factions less. We have talked about this. The devs have talked about this. This is good because we saw a huge influx of kingdoms that obviously don't have the troops, don't have the money, pay for mercenaries, go completely bankrupt, and then overall it would just cause this like downward spiral. Now it should help with the financials just a bit more. Next, we have War and Peace AI has been improved so that clans make more logical war/peace declarations. The importance of distance between kingdoms has been increased for these decisions. Kingdoms further apart tend to avoid war/peace/tribute deals between each other in most cases. Makes sense. If they're too far away, it's not happening. I agree. Next, we have us change the outcome from slaughtering horses from 4 meat and 2 hides to 3 meats. So for people who obviously got horses and they would slaughter them and then obviously make kind of like a profit in certain cases, now instead of giving 4 meat and 2 hides, they only give 3 meats. So a nerf right there. Next we have is 200 plus power headmen notables now provide elite troops. If you do not know what this is, the devs have talked about this previously. The headmen are pretty much the same thing as nobles, except they're the owners of, let's say, a village, right? They're the guys who come first, right? On that top icons of the people whenever you enter a village. Those guys, if they reach 200 plus power, they will provide elite troops as well now. Before they did not. They only provided basic troops. And if I'm not mistaken, someone told me that elite troops are tier 3 and above, or tier 2, something along those lines. But it just, the elite troops give you the elite troop tree. Those elite troops do not start from recruits. It's a whole different tech tree. Next we have is notables at villages which are bounded by a castle now gain more power each day compared to others. So again, another thing that the devs have talked about previously and we have gone over. This is pretty much a push to make castles kind of more stronger in a way, and we're going to see a lot more of these changes in the future in terms of projects and stuff, to make castles like a strategic point to hold instead of just being a discount version of a town, right? So what this does is gives a small daily, I think it's like a 0.1 power daily or something along those lines, or 0.2 power daily to notables or nobles that are in villages that are connected to the castle or bound to the castle. So I agree with it. I think it makes sense. So pretty much if you want better troops, if you want to have a bigger chance of finding more elite troops, go to villages that are bound to a castle instead of a town. So it gives it kind of a better purpose now. I agree with it. Now on to quests. They're all on the screen right now. We mostly just got fixes to quests that were already in game, and the Spy Among Us quest is enabled again. And you can pause it if you want to see more information. Then we got two more things for single player. We have XP needed to upgrade to tier 4 and tier 5 troops has slightly been increased. I agree with it. I think we should increase a lot more between all the other tiers as well. I think it should be a little bit harder to increase or just upgrade troop tiers in general. And then next we have is passive XP for troops and NPC clans have been slightly reduced. So NPC lords or AI lords, they will now have a harder time upgrading their troops. They have a little passive XP boost, kind of like a little cheat for them just to keep up, but now that will be slightly reduced. Alrighty, on to multiplayer. We got a couple changes here. So first, and as I'm talking about the changes, you'll see it on the screen as well. But first, they changed the defender morale effect when the attacker has the keep flag from 6 divided by seconds to number of flags captured divided by seconds. So this pretty much, I don't know exactly the game mode for this. I haven't played multiplayer in a while, but I think this is one of the main game modes, and therefore before it was a constant number divided by the amount of time. Now it is how many flags that you have captured divided by the number of times. So it's like, is it nerfed or is it boosted? I have no clue exactly, but it is a major change in my opinion. Next we have is clan leaders can now appoint up to 3 clan officers. Clan officers can do everything the clan leader can other than appoint, demote other clan officers, or delete the clan. So if you have a clan, a multiplayer clan, you can have pretty much like 3, I would say, moderators, right? So they can do everything except obviously, so they can do pretty much everything except obviously delete the clan in general or appoint or demote. Cool. Then we have replace the number of people waiting in the queue with an average wait time. I think this is good. I think the number of people waiting, once you see it, it might be really low and then you might not queue up. But if you see the average wait time, more people will try to queue up and therefore more games will start. That's just, that's kind of how it works. And then we have rest of the changes are pretty much on the screen right now. Like I said before, for you guys to check out. They're kind of minor, but they could be major depending on what you play on multiplayer. Now onto both. We have added an option under audio, and this has to do with the sound and background feature that we got in the last patch, where pretty much the game lowers its volume if you, let's say, alt-tab out of the game, or if you are playing it on windowed mode, you go to a different window. Like, let's say there's music playing, it will be completely drowned out. It will go to 0. So therefore, I really enjoy this because obviously I make YouTube videos, or if you just like to play the game a little bit, focus on something else, boom, boom, boom. I think this is very good, even for streamers. So overall, this is a good feature. But now you can turn it on and off if you wanted to. Before, it was just how it was, but now you have an option. Next, we have improved the performance of siege battles and CPU memory usage has been reduced. So, very good. I like when the CPU obviously gets upgrades to its memory usage, and obviously performance at siege battles, always needed. Next we have is improved cavalry calculations to take velocity into consideration when switching to two-handed polearm weapons. So more improvements to how cavalry does damage with polearm weapons. Very good to see. Next is mounted agents will no longer needlessly change weapons when moving short distances or rotating their mounts. What this means pretty much is before, if enemies got a little bit too close to, let's say, a horse archer, they would change their melee weapon even though 2 seconds later they're going to change back to their bow because, you know, they just were close to that enemy for a split second because they rode past them. And now they won't do that unless they're ready to stop and actually attack the melee units. So it won't just have to do with distance, it will have to do with the AI actually choosing to attack. I think that makes sense. Next we have is agents will no longer throw their last throwing weapon if they have no other melee weapon. Very cool. I know that, if I'm not mistaken, they can pick up melee weapons or more throwing weapons. So now they will kind of save their last one just in case they need it. I agree with it. Next we have is revised weapon score calculation to make agents choose between multiple polearms more effectively, take enemy armor into account when selecting your weapon, improve weapon reach consideration. Very good. So whenever pretty much anybody in the game chooses the type of weapons they will use, they will do it a lot more effectively when it comes to polearms. They will take into account enemy armor, and just overall, very good to see. Lastly, we have, for all the modders out there, there are quite a few changes. All of them can be seen on the screen right now. Things that stick out to me are a new path duplication was added, a lot of bug fixes in general, and they also added a control tab shortcut for switching between the last selected debug rendering mode and the shaded mode. Very good. And the rest is obviously on the screen now if you want to pause it. That's all the changes. That's how I think it's pretty good changes in my opinion. It's kind of a smaller patch, but at the same time we have a new what would you call it? New ability for single player, and obviously a lot of good changes that we have talked about with the devs. Last, I'm going to end this video in the same way I end most of my update and dev talk videos. I want to thank the developers for staying active and bringing good changes. Also, I have a video how you can revert your game to any other patch release or to the current one if you are having any problems. Check out the video link down below. Also, I did start a Patreon. It's nothing crazy, just basic support. If you do like what I do here and you want to support me further, go check it out. And hopefully this video is informative, and like always, stay safe.